This is Crew Talk, the podcast of Bombers CrossFit, where we build healthy humans. Here we talk about strength, discipline, mindset, community, real training, real nutrition, real results. If you're ready to level up inside and outside the gym, you're in the right place. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Crew Talk, the official podcast for Bombers CrossFit, where we build healthy humans. And today we're talking with Andrew Evans, whose fitness journey has taken some unexpected turns. From competing with multiple sports growing up, track and field and cross country, soccer, things like that, and then running in college, also cross country, to eventually serving in the Air Force, fitness has always been really a part of his identity. But what happens when a health challenge comes along and forces you to rethink everything that you thought you knew about being fit? So in this episode, we're going to be discussing community, resilience, adapting to change, and why sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to slow down and trust the process. So let's get into it. Okay, Andrew, thanks for joining us for this episode of Crew Talk. And if you could, just introduce yourself, give us a little of your background, where you grew up, that kind of thing.
All right, as you just said, Andrew, I'm from Michigan. I lived in Michigan until I enlisted in the Air Force. I was an athlete growing up, soccer, baseball, and then in high school, I did soccer, track, cross country, and then I ran a little bit of cross country in college.
Okay.
Decided I did not want to be in college right then. Air Force seemed like an option. So left, did basic and everything. And then when I got to my first duty station, I was kind of talking to my coworkers. I was like, yeah, like working out's okay, but I kind of miss like the team, the group aspect of it. Like
Sure.
I don't want to be like worried about passing my PT test because I don't want to go run alone, or I don't want to go lift alone. So they said, hey, I have a workout you might like, but didn't tell me anything about it, didn't tell me what it was. I kind of just showed up and got my butt kicked that first workout. But like, crazy enough, this was 7 years ago and I'm still coming back. So, yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. What was, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Oh, yes. So I have 2 sisters, 1 brother, all younger than me.
Oh, so you're the oldest sibling?
Yes. My youngest sibling, he just turned 18. Let's check in the year.
Okay, all right.
And then my sisters are 26 and 23.
Okay, all right. And how old are you?
28.
28, okay.
So we had a little bit of a span between me and my youngest sibling.
Yeah, so 10 years between you and your brother.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And where at in Michigan did you grow up?
So it's Muskegon. It's right here on the hand, like right along Lake Michigan.
Okay.
It's about 5.5 to 6 hours away, depending on how many bathroom breaks or whatever
From
you
here,
need.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So.
And is it like a rural area or is it more city or?
It's like a smaller city feel. Definitely smaller than like Dayton. It wouldn't be considered like a big city. It's a little more spread out, and then right along like the outskirts, you have a lot of farmland, like Amish, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
it's like a 15-minute drive, like away from the city. You're like all of a sudden in the middle of like cornfields and stuff, which is kind of interesting feel.
And you said you played soccer, track. That was the main thing when you were like younger and in high school?
I started off with soccer and baseball, and then in
Okay.
high school I did soccer, track, and cross country.
Okay. All right. And so what did you do in track? I mean, what distances did you run?
So I prefer to be a long distance runner. I did about like the 4x800 or solo 800 mile, but I was good enough at like the 400s that I would get thrown in on those relays too. I was kind of like a patch filler sometimes too. Like a long distance runner with an asterisk because I was decent enough at sprinting that I could be used.
Yeah.
Made it kind of interesting.
So how do they make that, when you're on a track team? I was never on a track team. And so how does that work? How do they figure out who's going to do what? I mean, do you guys like in practices, do you compete with each other?
So I came to track to do conditioning for soccer. And that kind of meant where they knew that a lot of the soccer players could just be like a jack of all trades, like
Yeah.
But they knew also that most of us were probably going to be the medium to long distance range just because a lot
tend
of the
to run for a long time, yeah.
And a lot of the team were football players that just, even if they could run a long time, they just didn't want to. So the soccer, the endurance athletes ended up doing like the longer distances, just kind of shaped up that way.
Yeah.
And it was okay. I
So,
didn't mind.
so was soccer the main thing that you enjoyed, or was it track?
I did soccer through junior year, and then I kind of wasn't feeling some of the team dynamics and switched for cross country, and kind of wished I would have switched sooner, just because of the difference. Like soccer, you're competing for positions, so you either you have the position or you don't. Track or cross country, like you doing better makes the team better. So everybody is like training as hard as they can in practice, because they know if you get like a 30 seconds faster in your 5K, that could be like a 4 or 5 place difference, and that could actually decide whether your team places as a whole or you don't. So everybody's like cheering, like you doing better makes them look better.
So how does cross country? Does everybody run the same distance on cross country, or?
So in high school, everybody runs a 5K.
Okay.
Top 7 finishers are considered like the varsity, and then the top 5 finishers are scored. But those 6 and 7 runners, like if you happen to have a tie, those will be your tiebreaker. Lowest score wins. So like the first runner only gets 1 point, all the way down to however many, and they just do math.
Okay.
So like you could have the fastest 2 people in the race, and then you could have a huge gap, and you could be like the bottom team overall.
Yeah. So potentially you might have 10 people that ran that day, but it's really the top 5 scores that matter. Or?
Generally, it's the top 5.
Yeah.
And then once you got to college, women still ran a 5K. The men normally ran an 8K. And then some of our races, they would bump up the women running longer, and then the men run a 10K. So it kind of depended on the rules on who was having like whatever invitational on how long they wanted any runner to run. Yeah. But the standard was generally that 8K.
So I can definitely see how that would create a dynamic where you're really rooting for all of your people. Even if you're the top runner on the team, you're hoping that the guy lower down is doing as well, So you're like pushing everybody to compete for the best,
And then practice, sometimes it'll be grouped out into like 2 or 3 groups based on like how fast you are. Like, okay, you guys normally run like a 6:50 pace. You're all going to run together, all going to push each other, and then you'll have like groups. Or we'll do like mile repeats, and then you can't start until the person behind you goes. So you're so it'll be interesting. You'll be like racing your teammates and encouraging, and then afterwards you all go and like have like a pasta dinner together or something to get like the calories back you just ran in a good way.
Carb load, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Okay. And so when you went to college, what did you go to college for? What was your intent to major?
So I hadn't fully decided yet. I was leaning towards wanting to do something like marine biology, but I quickly found out that I just wanted a break from like the class every day. And so once season ended, I realized that is the only reason I was there. And I was like, maybe we should reestablish what I want to be doing for the time being.
So it was really your kind of desire to run, to do these, to participate in cross country that was kind of driving that train more.
Yes.
Okay. And so distance wise, you enjoyed the endurance part of it.
I did.
Okay. All right. And I know from that later on you have and still deal with issues with asthma. Was asthma an issue then?
So no, it was not.
Okay.
About a year ago, I started just noticing a little bit of just a little bit, not enough to where it was stopping me from running, but enough to where it was a little, like there are times where I could get like a little alarming of like, oh, maybe I should stop. And then this past year in, I think it was October, I got what Base said was an upper respiratory infection. It kind of, it seemed kind of similar to what some of the later variants of COVID had been as well. And it got to where the breathing was really bad. Like growing up a flight of stairs could just have me gasping, and then like I wasn't able to do anything. And then I got to where I wasn't sick anymore, but a lot of the breathing issues did not leave.
Right.
And right now I'm going through like the base process. They're saying it's asthma. It's possible there could be more underneath that, but a little bit of it is I told them I never stopped like doing weighted hikes, going to CrossFit and trying to run. So like, are you really dealing with anything? I was like, oh yes I am. I'm just too stubborn to not work out. So it's definitely gotten to where running is harder, and I can't run as far or as fast like in one sitting. So kind of had to relook at how I wanted to like stay fit. And
I wonder if environmental conditions had anything to do with it. So I knew a guy in the Air Force, and we were in England at the time, and he had never had any sort of respiratory issues at all until he came to England. And then all of a sudden which, you know, it's kind of damp and moldy, and, you know, and so, and so they were at the time, you know, they were really being aggressive against people that had asthma, you know, potentially, you know, medical boarding them and all of this kind of stuff, you know. And so they were talking to him about it, and he's like, I've never had an issue in my life until I came here, you know. And so eventually he PCS'd out, and it went away, and he was fine again, you know. So I mean
I was in Korea for a year, so the air quality there's mornings where you can actually like see pollution in the air that comes over from like China. And then I was also deployed to UAE, and they've been on like the burn pit like notice list since like I think it's like 1993. So it's possible that being in those places like in the past for Air Force, and then coming here like something in like the allergens or something like set it off. I don't know. Like I already deal with fun allergies trying to run. I walked in today, eyes all red.
See, I've never had allergies in my life until I came to Ohio. I don't know what it is, but there's something around here that really kind of like aggravates me. But so it's just interesting, you know. So I mean, fitness was a big part of your life. Okay, something that you love and enjoy doing, and endurance aspect is really a big part of that. So when you got into the Air Force, so you started off talking a little bit about that first invitation to CrossFit. So that was some coworkers that invited you to do that, or?
Yeah, so we had a lot of brand new airmen get to my unit at the same time because they were standing up an entire group. And so we had all went through Intel Tech School, like doing the workouts on the broken down flight line, that kind of stuff. And they got there, and it's like, well, now they're not like making us do this in groups of like 100 plus, like just going to the track and running, or we had a little 1.5 mile loop, going to that and running, or going to the gym. Like it doesn't feel the same. I get bored.
It's a tough thing, you know, because you grow up, and it's like you're on teams, and so there's practice times. You have to show up for practice. You have to go out and compete, and it's something you love doing, you know. But then there comes a point where, you know, you become an adult and you don't have that anymore, and it's like, well, now what's my incentive? Even though I enjoy doing it, you know, what's my incentive to go out there and do that, you know? It's kind of hard to find that motivation for it.
So in Shaw, they don't really advertise where this part of the gym, it's like in the back corner of the gym. They have like it's supposed to be like a CrossFit area of the gym, and they had multiple, I think most of the more senior NCOs have just been doing it for a long time. All had the like CFL level 2s and stuff, and they went up to the fact and like, hey, like, I want to do this on my own, but I am qualified to. I would love to teach classes. I don't want to get paid as long as like you have a room. It's all dusty. You don't even open it. Like, can I just go use that room? And you won't even have to know we're over there. So they had, it was Monday through, I think Saturday. And they had classes like all day. I think the latest class was like 6:30, and they always had, like, it grew with a lot of they got a bunch of airmen in there, and they started like talking to their friends in the dorms, and it was walking distance for them. So like, okay, get a little warm up walk. I'll go have them kick my butt in this workout, and then I'll walk home, get food from the DFAC, and then we would all just be doing that. So it's a nice little dynamic they had going on.
Yeah. So do you remember what that first workout was? Were there any of the movements you remember or anything?
I know I had to learn how to do cleans. That was fun. They had me with just one of the, like, basically a weighted PVC pipe, because I had never done cleans before. They didn't make us do that for like cross country or anything. And the dropping under, I remember I clotheslined myself like 3 or 4 times with that. And then I want to say we were doing box jumps, which was also, that was a new one. And I think they were doing like the C2 bike.
Okay.
And it was, I started going like a month before they were getting ready for Murph. So every single workout was like, I'm going to kill you today. And the coach actually said sorry when he heard I had no idea what CrossFit was. He's like, I hope you come back, just get it through this month, and then we'll go back to normal programming. Like, and I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But because I had no idea what Murph was or anything like that. So
so in track and everything, you'd never done any barbell movements or anything like that? No weightlifting really? Not even like machines and stuff? Or?
So well, we would do like circuits with like deadlifts, squats, that kind of, but we'd never done any like Olympic lifts with like cleans or snatches. I think most of it was a space thing. We would have a lot of us like in the weight room, and then they don't really want us like doing something that could potentially have a bar get thrown. Yeah. With somebody standing right next to you. So I was familiar with like just the general like gym type workouts and circuits, but just not exactly like what CrossFit would be like.
So, but it appealed to you, even though it was kind of like weird and it kicked your butt. It appealed to you.
It was definitely. It reminded me a little bit of the atmosphere. Reminded me of like what track and cross country had of like. It didn't matter how long you've been going there. Didn't matter how good or bad the movements are. Like how strong you were. Like everybody during the workout and when they finish, they're like cheering you on. Like, hey, let's go. Sometimes they'll come bring their bar over next to you. Like, I already finished, but I'm going to do a few more reps next to you, so you don't feel like you're just standing here being watched and doing this alone and like feel bad. So it was kind of like just the camaraderie kind of, it like filled that gap that I've been like, well, now I'm an adult, I don't have that. Like, where am I going to find this?
That's one of the things I really enjoy about CrossFit is the encouragement that you get, you know, the fact that everybody's kind of rooting for you to be successful.
Yeah. And this is my third base doing that. So I did it in South Carolina, South Korea, and then now here. And some of that was with gaps because of COVID, like closing it down on base and that kind of thing. But for the most part of the last 7 years now, I've been doing CrossFit.
So how do you think CrossFit has helped you as far as the Air Force fitness requirements? So the PT test, since the time you've been in, it's always been just like the run, push-ups, and sit-ups. Is that what it is, or?
So it was always the 1.5 mile run, sit-ups, and push-ups, doing that in a minute. Then they brought where they had, you could do, I forget what they're called, but you're doing it and you're kind of like leg and arm up, but you're on the back, and your hips aren't supposed to leave. It's hard for me to do. I don't have the hip mobility for that. And then you could also do the hammer run, which is basically like a pacer test from high school. And then just this past March, they updated the standards to, it's either that hammer run or a 2 mile for the run. And then they made it so you have to do more reps to pass or max out on the push-ups and sit-ups. Still the same amount of time. And then they added the height to waist ratio. Which I think you divide your height by like how many inches you're around the middle you are, and then so that's like 20 points. I think the run is still 50, and then the push-ups and sit-ups are each 15. If I remember correctly.
And you've never had any issue passing?
So I hadn't. I'm currently on a waiver from the run since I was due for my PT test right when the pulmonologist started doing all the testing for asthma and seeing what was going on with my chest. I had like 2 or 3 weeks where they had me on what people like to call like a dead man's waiver, where you're not supposed to do anything.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I know if I don't put you on this, you're probably not going to stop running. And I was like, yeah, and I'm going to CrossFit. If you don't tell me not to, I'm going.
Yeah.
And he goes, what? And I had Denise with me there, and she goes, he will. I can't stop him. So that, I think I got put on that in March. Right now I can run at my own pace, and I can technically be testing their stuff. And I'm going through a Rilo, basically making sure that asthma isn't going to stop me from doing my job, which pulmonologist and my commander were both like, yeah, he's fine. I would always joke with them, unless they made me do burpees at my desk. I was like, I carry my inhaler with me, so like,
yeah.
But one of my coworkers is actually going through basically the same thing, and my commanders even noticed a difference of me coming here and still running and doing like the weighted hikes. Like, I've forced my lungs to go well beyond what they wanted to, and just take my inhaler. I was like, all right, I'll just keep going. Like, I'll do the WOD, and then I might be on the floor gasping and need my inhaler afterwards, but like, I was doing it. And my coworker was not on a waiver, and we had a diagnostic PT test, and he did not pass any of them because he didn't have that motivation to just keep
wasn't doing anything,
being uncomfortable. Like, I was like, I know none of this is going to feel good, but when I get off of my profile, one of the things they make you do is prove to me you can pass a PT test.
Right.
And I didn't want to have like, oh great, I have 30 days until I'm off of this. I have to pass this within like 2 months and then like scramble. So I just thought it'd be better if I never stopped. And then the group atmosphere here kind of made it so I'm not doing it alone. Like, each person's doing their own workout, but like, you're dying with the person next to you, basically. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard for somebody to say that you're not capable of passing the test when you're capable of passing the test, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen you do WODs in here. I'm sure you wouldn't have any trouble, even with like the 2 mile run, which is probably longer distance we would generally run, although sometimes we do. And, you know, push-ups and setups wouldn't be an issue, so.
Yeah, the biggest thing for coming here, since having the asthma stuff, it's kind of having to think out how you want to do your WOD more. You can't just not read the workout before going in, not listen to the brief and be like, I'm just going to go full send and just like do it. You kind of have to be like, all right, I know, like, for today's workout, I knew that the rowing and bike were going to definitely mess with my breathing more than anything else. So I was like, I just decided I'm just going to attack that and see if I can get a little bit of rest before I have to like try doing squats or try and doing push-ups, which might not have been the smartest. It kind of hurt, but, and then like some of our, was it March we went through the month where we were doing like a lot of 20 to 30 minute WODs, or was that April? Like, going when it was like almost every single day was one of those WODs, instead of, oh, I can do these short WODs and like once a week we have that was interesting, of just having to limit, sometimes even having to limit how many times I came, because like it would be a day or two later I would still feel it. Right. Of just trying to like breathe through that. So that always made it interesting.
Yeah. So so how did you how did you come to see that was going to have to change, that was going to change the way you approached workouts? I mean, initially, did you try to just kind of go into it the way you had always done?
For about 2 workouts.
Okay.
And then I was disappointed with how poorly my workout was scored, because like I would do really well in the first like round or two, and then like there was no pacing. So there was no like trying to like do measured breathing and just like focus on that, and then I would just hit a wall, and then I'd be like one of the ones leading the WOD in the first like 2 rounds, and I'd be like, oh, now I'm like barely getting anything done the last like 3/4 to half of the WOD itself. And then I kind of just had to like relearn how I was going to be able to CrossFit or run, and just like trying to get more in tune with how my breathing feels before I even go into it.
Yep.
And there's been a few WODs where when I had still been going to the evening classes and Ryan or Dylan were the coach, and it was like a day with 200s or 400s, and I go do the warm up to the mailbox, and I get up, I'm like, yep, I'm not running today. And Dylan also has asthma, so there's been a couple times where like he'll see me come back from the warm up, he's like, you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, I was already gonna tell you, like, what's our other options here, because that's not happening.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like a fail better next time type thing. As I got to, it's like, well, this didn't go well.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do it at like this speed, or let's see if I can do it scaling it this way, until I kind of got within a groove of seeing what would help me best complete the workout, whether it was RX or not.
Right, exactly. I mean, it comes to you've got to learn the way your body's changed.
Yes.
And then adapt the workout to what you're able to do that day, because it might change from day to day.
And I've noticed even on some of like the lifts, like still getting stronger, like still making PRs on things, but then at the same time, like some of the stuff that I had been, like I used to look forward to workouts where it'd be like, all right, it's going to be like 5 rounds of do a 200-meter run, do kettlebell swings, and then like sit-ups or something like that. Like, and you're supposed to just be flying.
Yeah.
That used to be something like, okay, cool. I'll probably be pretty near the top because I was always good at running, and 200-meter was enough. Like, you barely break a sweat. Now I'm like, well, I'll do the 200-meter, but if I go out sprinting the first 2 rounds, I'm going to be like a sloth out there in the last however many rounds I make it through. So it's kind of just like meet in the middle, maybe go like 70% and let people pass me in the beginning, but like slow and try to win the race in the end almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like, I was talking to Phil yesterday, and he was talking about on one of his runs that, he slowed himself down a little bit on the run because he knew that he wanted to be able to get right to the handstand push-ups. And so it was like, hanging back for an extra 5 or 10 seconds on the run meant I could go right to the wall and do my handstand push-ups unbroken, which is just a more efficient way to keep moving, as opposed to just running all out and then just being blown out of the water. So
and then you get back and you can't do whatever the rest of that round was to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. So have you noticed on like heavy days where it's kind of like maybe a slower tempo? We've had a couple of back squat heavy days recently. Have those been a little bit easier to manage?
Yes. For like heavy squat, I think I'd hit 265, and then for we were doing I think it was like a strict overhead, like strict press overhead. I think I hit over 100 on that, which anything overhead has never been a friend to me. That's from old ankle injury out in Korea, actually. Like, so I have noticed where some of the slower days, it's been easier to get more. And I think when we did the cleans, when you were coaching a couple weeks ago, it was big getting 165, because I've 155 had just been like a plateau that I'd hit for a long time. And I think a lot of that was mental. So that was really big. That was pretty cool hitting that.
So you think going through this experience is the biggest challenge, is it physical or is it mental? What's the hardest hurdle to overcome?
I think the biggest is easily mental, because a lot of it wasn't coming from not being active and then, I have asthma, now I want to see if I can be active to help manage it. It was coming from years of doing sports growing up in high school, and then doing CrossFit, and then running. And a lot of it's kind of, you have to do your best to not remember where you were and compare it to where you are.
Right.
And because some days, like if you think like that, then you'll just like be like, all right, now I just want to not work out because I can't get up and run like 6-8 miles like on a whim. Like at this point, that's just not happening until maybe I'll be able to work up to it at some point. And then like some of our longer WODs, I know there's no way I can just like race through it. You kind of have to just shut that off. You can remember it, but like just not think about it while you're working out. Otherwise, you're just going to be discouraged and not be, because like showing up, I know I can do most of the movements we do, but it's kind of just,
it's mentally accepting that I've got to kind of reel it back in just a little bit, you know, for the longer haul, as opposed to just kind of pulling the pin and throwing a grenade, you know.
Yeah. And a lot of the coaches that I've done classes with since getting Asthma, like, know, like, hey, if I look like I'm working out differently than you remember, like maybe like 3 months ago, like this is why. I'm not sandbagging a workout. I'm not like, this isn't an attitude thing or me not wanting to be here. It's I'm genuinely, there's been a couple of times where we were doing like a heavy row day and people have been joking, oh, like, hey, I want to scale it. And then I've been like, hey, well, technically I do have like a physical reason I could. And the coach would be like, no, you don't. Because like, you look fine. I was like, but I hide it sometimes. Because like most of the time I would rather be the one telling like, hey, I'm dealing with this, than be like, what's going on with you today? Like that kind of thing. So there's been a couple of times where the coach would be like, oh, I thought you were just like adding on to trying to get out of running or trying to get out of rowing and messing with me. So that's been kind of fun, like back and forth, like just seeing like how that's perceived.
Do you think CrossFit sometimes pushes us to go all out? I mean, they glorify going super hard at all cost?
That can depend on the workout. Sometimes it depends on who's coaching or who is in your class, because every athlete has different personality just going in. So sometimes it'll be like this person's here, I've always competed with them, so now they walk through the door, and then it's almost like you look at each other and like, all right, now I know that like we're seeing which person comes out on top today. And some workouts, like benchmark workouts, are almost, it's not written on there, but it is implied, like Fran or some other ones, like you're going to, the intent is to see how hard you can push with like almost not being able to get up after. It's like get your best time on that. So it depends on A, who wrote it, and B, sometimes who you're in the class with. And that's just like the camaraderie type thing. Like sometimes if it's a bunch of like 20-something-year-old guys and they're all like, oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
So, and I've even noticed a difference on like, I started going to 6 a.m. Like there's, that class is an entirely different atmosphere than like the 3:30 and 4:30. Like, which in a way is actually good, because I'm not a morning person and I walk in there and they make sure you're awake, because they're a little wild, and that makes it easier to do the class for sure.
6 a.m. is a crazy class. So I've always thought, that it's not really CrossFit per se that pushes it. But it's you. I mean, it's the individual, because like you said, you walk in and if it's a workout you've done before, you know what you've done in the past, and so what it's going to take to beat that effort, Or if you walk in and there's that one person that you're competitive with, and you're like, I don't want this guy to beat me, And so it's like, that's what kind of compels you to push a little harder maybe than is smart or you should, or,
Yeah, a lot of it, like the workout itself is just words on our screen, and a lot of it is definitely how you interpret you want to do it, or how you remember doing it before. Or who happens. Definitely.
I think, sometimes I think the RX button
that too
has the same effect, and so some people will walk in and, like, as a coach, I'll have some people come in and it's like, it doesn't matter what they're able to do, if there's an RX weight, they're going to do it. Okay. Even if it doesn't make sense for them to do, and sometimes that little bit of being stubborn is counterproductive. All right. You would be better off dropping a little bit of weight and doing, 10 really perfect movements as opposed to going to the RX weight and you're going to do 10 really kind of questionable movements,
Yeah. And we saw the results of those people who would do that come out in some of last month's workouts where there was no weight.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And
when you're able to pick the weight that you should be using, and people were making different choices,
There was also groups abusing that and sandbagging the weight overall. Because I noticed several people who I knew were stronger than me doing less than me on that kind of thing, because they were like, well, if you're going to make RX easy, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and that's kind of like one of the arguments in favor of having RX. You can make the arguments against it. You can make the reality is the individual.
Yes.
If you prioritize your training, if you think of today as training, it's not a test. I'm not trying to prove something. I'm not trying to win something. It's not the CrossFit Games. It's my training. What's the most productive thing for my training this day? And if you come in with that mindset, then and you really set your scales for that, then you're going to have a more productive day.
It's the focus on form before focus on RX.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Having said that, okay, there is an allure, to loading up probably more weight than you should and just kind of like pulling the pin and throwing a grenade and seeing where things. I get it. I like it too sometimes, and sometimes, you might just say, you know what, today's the day. I'm just going to grip it and rip it, and have a little bit of fun. Is it the smartest thing to do? No, it's not, but some days you just got to do that, I guess,
It's the human thing to do.
Yeah, it is. So that's why sometimes, if I'm coaching a class and a person's kind of biting off more than they can chew, my big thing is I'm going to look at them and can they do the movement safely? All right. If they're going to get hurt, well then, no, that's not going to happen. Okay. But if you can move it safely, okay, and you want to, go on ahead,
Yeah.
So go on ahead and chase that parked car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, I think, the difference sometimes, So, so what advice would you give to someone who's having a new health challenge? Because this is something that we run into all the time, whether it's a health issue like you've developed, or it could be an injury or something like that. What is your advice going through this?
Well, if we're doing it just in dynamic of somebody at Bombers, or you have like an established area where you're working out, I would make sure that if it's whoever's leading that class, like you're open to like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Like if you see something that I'm not, because I'm focused on the bar in front of me, make sure I don't hurt myself. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of just I kind of came back very slow after that waiver where they told me not to do anything. I think I was here 2 or 3 days tops. I was not loading up. I think Bo was actually the coach on one of those first days. And it was a complex of like, I think it was power clean and then jerk it twice. And I think you had to do a power clean to finish it or something. And it counted as one rep and you had to hold on to the bar. Like he was noticing and he's like, oh, you're moving that really well. And I was like, that's the point. I was like, I'm just trying to work from the ground up. Like I know I can do more right now, but I'm going to try to walk this instead of sprinting right back to where I was.
Right.
And so there was probably a month or two where I was slowly, like very much focusing on form, and like even faster wads. I was kind of walking to my next thing a little bit more and just kind of like trying to just listen and see where my body was. And knowing that's not where it was going to stay, but I was trying to just find a baseline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not try to force my body to be at the baseline it was before, and then potentially hurt myself and then make it so I couldn't work out for however long. So it was like a slow walk, a marathon. I did not try sprinting back into it at all.
So you think, having gone from a position where, you look at certain workouts and you think, this is one I can really dominate, I could be at the top of the board or something, to now you almost have to redefine success to be something else. Is that right? Or
yes, but I have noticed since I have been back to being here like full time for a few months since getting asthma, I've attacked workouts differently to where I might not be sprinting as fast, but I'm still getting around the same overall rounds that I would have gotten. And even on if it really was hindering me, the partner workouts, it would be harder to find a partner. Most of my partners probably have no idea unless I mention, by the way, I'm not attacking this the same way as you. I'm here to move. I'm dealing with my health stuff, and I'll mention it once we start, but I've noticed just that's kind of been nice of it seems like I don't feel like I'm hindering my team most of the time on a partner workout type dynamic.
So how would you define fitness today as opposed to maybe 10 years ago?
In my life? Well, 10 years ago I was running 70 to 80 miles a week, and that working in class was all I had time for. But now I'm more of, I know coming to Bombers, even if it's only 2 or 3 times a week, is going to push me hard enough to where maybe a month before my PT test, I might start focusing and doing a few rounds of 20 push-ups, 30 sit-ups. I'll just stop at my desk and just do that a few times a day. And I know going into it, it's just getting the muscle memory back. Now at this point, I'm just trying to be fit, healthy, and trying to do something that will maintain me just continuing the rest of being in the Air Force and after, and trying to go about it a little more reserved or smart way of, instead of when I was running that 70 to 80 miles a week, there was a lot of ailments. I had a torn muscle across the bottom of my foot at one point, jacked up the ankle in the same leg, trying to run differently to act like I wasn't hurt. A lot of it is listening more and just trying to stay fit enough to where you can run around outside of family, throw kiddos, that kind of stuff.
You got family responsibilities now.
Yes.
So
little ones love scooping them up and get them up in a front rack and spin them around on your shoulder. Oh, how can you do that? I was well, you're still lighter than the bar, and I'll put more than that on there. So this is fun. I can do a kettlebell swing with you or something if you want. So that's definitely been fun.
So what do you think 10 years from now your future self is going to thank current you about?
Well, just probably be thankful that I kept moving, even once I did get hit with the asthma and the potential med board. It's an automatic med board to see if it's going to stop you from staying in. But you're allowed to stay in as long as you can prove that this isn't going to stop me from doing my duties. So staying, moving, trying to do CrossFit, weighted hikes or runs if I can. Sometimes that's a little harder on the breathing than just coming here. Staying, being active and being fit, kept options open for employment, and I'm sure it will keep quality of life better as you get older, setting that foundation early. Because then won't have to like work up as big of a mountain if something happens in the future. And then the fact that I never stopped really coming and working through the health conditions now should make it easier to do so if I'm hit with that later. Like I've already done this.
Yeah.
I'm not working from ground zero.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said earlier, you know, compared to your friend, you know, if someone dropped it down on you and said that you had to pass the Air Force PT test tomorrow, you know that you could do it, you know.
I already showed them I can.
And so, as opposed to someone who's not doing anything, you know, they're not doing the groundwork, you know, that's going to put them in a position to be able to rise and meet the challenge.
Yeah, and a lot of it has just been even easy CrossFit workouts normally are like that HIIT type workout, getting you in the heart rate of it being like cardio with a barbell or something.
Yeah.
Like even barbell cardio is going to be enough to right now make my lungs very uncomfortable, and it's kind of just like getting them used to working under pressure. Like I might be pretty gassed after doing like a PT test more so than I would have before, but like I've already shown, like we did the diagnostic, I did it, and I've already shown like in unit PT, like with my commander, like my commander even asked if I would offer said individual doing some of those workouts with me, or like what I've been doing to like make the difference between our fitness levels.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, hard work pays off. Let's get to a couple of kind of quick questions. What's your favorite workout movement?
Ooh. I've always really liked box jumps, even though like they'll gas you.
Yeah.
And I think I did have a scar going down my shit. Like if you're not focused, it will get you. So like even if it's last rep of like whatever round you're on, like you look up, you slip up for a moment, you'll pay with blood going down your leg. And actually, my first workout here was with Ryan. It was box jumps and kettlebell swings. And I think I was like 6 rounds in, and I got my leg good.
Yeah.
And Ryan's like, "Oh, like come here," and I was like, "Why? Like this isn't gonna stop me from working." He goes, "I have to at least show that I'm trying to get the blood, so the blood's not flying everywhere." But I was like,
"Yeah,
it'll dry." He goes, "Yes, I get it. Like I would want to do that too." But he's like, kind of like, "Oh no, come here. Let me at least put a wrap around that or something, so you're not getting blood everywhere." And I was like, and I thought it was kind of funny. We're like, "I get it, but no."
What's your least favorite movement?
I hate overhead squat. A lot of that, I tore a couple tendons in my ankle when I was out in Korea, and overhead, like having weight overhead, it's just hard to get any type of depth in squat or snatch. Just, like the ankle is fine, but like, trying to throw any weight overhead, it kind of like reminds you of like, hey, remember when?
It's the stability, yeah.
I think my second workout here was actually overhead squats with Lily, and she did not know I was coming back from injury. So that was a nice little, I told her I'd done CrossFit before. She's like, why don't you know how to do this?
What's your favorite post-workout meal?
Ooh. A lot of Saturday workouts when like Denise and her company, we would all family we would just go to Chick-fil-A and be like, hey, it would be like your treat for however many calories you just burned and you were working out, and go and like have a little family meal at Chick-fil-A.
That's good. That's good protein, chicken.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
A couple times we've seen Ryan and Kate there.
Some waffle fries, you know.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. One word that describes your fitness journey.
Ooh, caught me on the spot there.
That's a tough one. One word, yeah.
I mean, more recently, it's just been turned into just being like that marathon of just going for the long game, of just like slowly like keep going through everything you need to do to be okay and like stay fit.
Yeah. The long haul. Yeah.
Yes.
What's one piece of advice every new CrossFitter should hear?
Listen to the coach. There's a lot of workouts, even people like today's workout. You walk in, you're reading it, like, that doesn't look bad. Those words are always a trap.
So true.
When your coach is trying to get you to listen, this is the part you want to go full steam on. This is the part it looks like you should be doing that on, but go at a measured pace and let it be your active rest. Just do that. You can try not listening, but your workout will not go as well. And especially if it's your first day doing it, like don't listen to the other people there who have been doing CrossFit for years, and don't just try like going pedal to the metal and doing whatever you think you can do, because CrossFit is like a different kind of fitness compared to like just like going to the gym. Like it will humble you fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And most of the time your coach has been doing it for a long time, and they know the look in your eye when you're about to not listen to them. And they're like, sorry, man, I tried.
All right. Well, hey, Andrew, I really appreciate your time. Thanks very much for joining us on Crew Talk. And thanks so much.
Of course.
If you got something of value from this episode, share it with your crew. Do you want to train with us? Then head over to bomberscrossfit.com and see what we're building. Stronger every day, better every rep. We'll see you in the gym.